You respecting that? Oh, he gonna cut that down. He gonna take that out. He said, blessed is the man that trusts in the Lord. It's a way that we respond to this patiently. Not impatiently. You cuss me, I'm gonna cuss you. That's how it is in the world today. Ain't no love. Ain't nobody loving nobody right now. Very few people. And you have a wreck on the side of the road, man, everything, you know, your clothes and everything scattered off. You think these don't come up to heaven. They're picking up your clothes and putting them in the car, stealing them. You see that all the time. They did the thing on the news about that. Man, it was hurt. They said, look at the people just robbing him. He on the ground hurt, him and his wife. No love. Don't respect people like that. You know what I'm saying? What do you mean by respect? Following them. When you follow them, thinking that they got all the answers. They one step from that grave. Let's go to Philippians chapter 2. Philippians chapter 2 and verse 12. We understand. But like I say, time in and time out, that most people don't have no fear. And most of all, they don't fear God at all. In order to serve God, you got to have some fear in Him. You got to have some fear in Him. You got the most of the people inside the church to say, oh man, you shouldn't use the word fear. God don't want you to fear. He wants you to love Him. Yeah, right. We're going to find out in a minute. That's what they say, man. You gotta have some fear for this black man and woman. They don't believe it stink until they put their face all in it. Y'all see it? See it all the time. Philippians chapter 2 and verse 12. Go ahead, brother.
Wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my present only, but not much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
What he said? Work it out with fear and trembling. The fear part is understanding this God don't play. He drowned the whole world besides Noah and his family, 8 people. He killed Sodom and Gomorrah for the same stuff they do today. He killed the whole city, all the cities around. God is still telling us, look, it's like, for example, you hear a rattlesnake rattling, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to stop and you're going to locate that cat. You're going to locate where he at. You ain't going to just walk over there and say, oh, let me see what this is, what kind of diamonds on the back of this, and all this stuff. Let me see if it's pretty. No, you're going to get away from him. A smart man will do it. But it's just like the Lord telling you right here, instead of those rattlers rattling from that rattlesnake, God rattles in these 66 books. And He warning you by these 66 books what to do at the right time. But you just like a person who want to go over there and play with that rattlesnake and get bit. And you get bit, sometimes you lose your life. That's a person that straddles the fence. They understand, but they ain't patient enough to wait on the Lord. Like a man told me one time, I got God in my pocket. And he says, in God we trust. He was talking about that money. That's right. It's just crazy, man. Folks got some weird. I said, boy, you so bold to say that.
Right.
Let me get away from you before lightning hit you. But anyway, this is what he said. Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. We read these scriptures so it can put fear in us. Because without fear, you won't respect. I'm telling you. That's what's wrong with the kids right now. They don't feel a lot of these parents right here. They don't whoop them. They don't do nothing to them at all. They worry about defects. But anyway, go ahead, brother.
13. For it is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of His good pleasure.
That's it. He's working in you for will and to do good pleasure. Not pleasure yourself with the world, pleasure yourself in your book, so you understand how to treat the people of the world. Love your neighbor as yourself. You got to make sure you love them the right way. Cause they just gonna sign a bill saying that, hey, I love another man. If I love another man and another woman love another woman, they get married. They going against this law, man. They going against it.
Wow. Crazy.
That's their pleasure. Well, go ahead.
Do all things without murmuring and disputing.
Disputing.
Disputing. I'm sorry.
He telling me, he said, this is the key part right here. Do all things without murmuring or disputing. You got to argue with me because what I tell you about this book. You ain't arguing with me. I'm reading this. I didn't write this. I got to follow this. And most people argue with this instead of saying, argue with me, telling me I said this. I tell y'all all the time what I tell y'all. Don't tell them I read it. We read this. Jeff ain't told you to do nothing. We read this Bible. Well, let me give you a good example of people murmuring. You finished with that? Go ahead.
15. That ye may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation, among whom ye shine as lights in the world.
That's the problem. We done lost our shine. Don't nobody look at us as being nothing. We the bottom of the totem pole. We're on the same level as animals now.
In their eyes.
In their eyes.
Right.
And they still, matter of fact, they still got on the book. You still 1/8 of a man on the Constitution. It's still there. A black man, they got to go every year to try to get that off. Still there. But go ahead.
Holding forth the word of life, that I may rejoice in the day of Christ, that I have not run in vain, neither labored in vain.
That's what you don't want to do. Run in vain, labor in vain, meaning that don't be in church every Sunday, every Easter, every Christmas, think you're doing the Lord a favor. That's vain.
It is.
It's not written in here. It's not. I tell them all the time, show me Christmas in here, I'll go celebrate it with you. Show me Easter. Show me Good Friday. Jesus Christ died on Good Friday, resurrected on Sunday morning. That don't make sense. You talk about Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They were 2 days and 1 night. Or 2 nights and 1 day. He said the Son of Man should be in the earth for 3 whole days and 3 whole nights. So he had to die in the midst of the week, which is Daniel chapter 9, verse 26 tell you, in the middle of the week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and he came out the grave before the Sabbath was ended. This is what people don't understand. But they're in church every Good Friday and every Easter Sunday. And they tell you, the reason why we go to church on Sunday, because Jesus was resurrected up on Sunday. That's a lie. Absolutely. He resurrected up before the Sabbath or Saturday evening. Let me show you what he's mean by serve the Lord, stop murmuring. Give you a good example. Let's go to Numbers chapter 11 and verse 1. You can't serve God with murmuring. He hears everything that we are saying out of our mouth. He hears it. And believe me, when he get pissed off, and God get pissed off. When he get mad, when he get angry, I'm using words y'all will understand. You can't tell him that God he's kind of bothered. They'll just shut that off. You know what I'm saying? When you tell him God get pissed off and get angry, he start killing folks. Now he said, I ain't never told me God kill nobody. We finna read it. Yeah, you got that attention. Yes, sir. I'm gonna let the book do the talking. Numbers chapter 11. I'm going to start at verse 1. Now this is when God brought the children of Israel out of Egypt at the time and took them to the wilderness. Now they was in captivity, they was in slavery for 400 years. And these jokers still were complaining. They were serving Pharaoh, working for Pharaoh 7 days a week, sun up and sun down. God got them away from that and they still were complaining over the simple stuff. Y'all gonna hear? Go ahead. Numbers chapter 11, verse 1.
And when the people complained,
see? When the people complained, go ahead.
It displeased the Lord.
Yes, sir.
And the Lord heard it.
See, I told you he heard everything now. Go ahead.
And his anger was kindled, and the fire of the Lord burned among them, and consumed them that were in the utmost parts of the camp.
When God got mad, he sent fire down from heaven and burned a lot of Israelites up and killed them. Killed them. Because they what? Complaining. Go ahead.
And the people cried unto Moses, and when Moses prayed unto the Lord, the fire was quenched.
They said, Moses, tell the Lord to stop that fire from Lord. He was striking everybody down. Moses prayed to the Lord, and the Lord stopped it. That's why it's good to have a shepherd who's going to lead you the right way, and God will listen to him. Because you need somebody that can be able to talk before you, and also you need to talk for yourself. But it's also good for somebody that has some knowledge more than you to direct you in the right path.
That's right.
And that's what Moses was. Ain't no prophet like Moses. He's the greatest man that ever walked this earth besides Jesus Christ. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And he called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of the Lord burnt among them.
Go ahead.
And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a-lusting.
Fell lusting now. They lusted. I mean, it ain't like it was a sexual lust. They were lusting after something else. Go ahead.
And the children of Israel also wept again and said, who shall give us flesh to eat?
See, they wanted some flesh, wanted some food, wanted some meat, excuse me. God was feeding them with manna, bread at the time. But they got tired, they were complaining, man, I'm tired of eating light bread. And God heard it. Listen what they're saying now. Keep going.
We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely.
See what I'm saying? They talking about the fish they ate in Egypt, but also when they were in Egypt, they was in slavery. Working for set up the sun down 7 days a week. They talking about fish. But if that ain't a black man, I don't know who it is. Right there. Go ahead.
The cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions and the garlic.
Man, even to set you free, you worrying about vegetation and fish. You see what I'm saying? This how crazy our people here now. Take the EBT card away from him. Still, ain't that changed? Ain't that changed? Take it away from him and see what happens. Yeah, go crazy. Go ahead, bro.
But now the soul is dried away. There is nothing at all besides this manna before our eyes.
See what I'm saying? He said, now our soul is dried away. God feeding us this bread. This is how they disrespecting God, complaining. Complaining. Oh, God heard it. Jump out of verse 10 now. He's going to, oh, you'll see it in a minute. Go ahead.
Then Moses heard the people weep throughout their families, every man in the door of his tent, and the anger of the Lord was kindled greatly. Moses also was displeased.
So you got God, man. He said the anger of the Lord will kindle me to start, like he kindled a fire. They always say to starting something. And he was displeased because God hear everything that we say. He's not a man that he got to wait till you stop talking so he can hear what he say. No, he hear it all at one time. He can process everything. Boy, you don't want to be like that, something wrong with you. Go ahead.
And Moses said unto the Lord, wherefore hast thou afflicted thy servant? And wherefore have I not found favor in thy sight, that thou layest the burden of all this people upon me?
They were driving Moses crazy. Every time something went down, they went to Moses. Moses was the one man at the time answering over 600,000, about 1 million folks prayer. I mean, answering giving them an answer for what they wanted to know. He had to answer everybody. But go ahead, this is what happened here.
Have I conceived all this people? Have I begotten them, that thou shouldest say unto me, carry them in thy bosom, as a nursing father bears the suckling child,
Go ahead.
unto the land which thou swearest unto their fathers?
Go ahead.
Whence should I have flesh to give unto all this people? For they weep unto me, saying, give us flesh, that we may eat.
Moses, he put it out and said, Lord, they telling me they didn't want some meat. I'm getting tired of hearing this. They about to drive me crazy. This is what the Lord said. Go ahead.
I am not able to bear all this people alone, because it is too heavy for me. And if thou deal thus with me, kill me, I pray thee, out of hand. If I have found favor in thy sight, and let me not see my wretchedness.
Moses said, kill me, because these folk about to drive me crazy. You ever had somebody get on your nerve to the last nerve?
Yes.
And you know black folks, boy, they will get on your nerve to the last nerve. So you dealing with this stuff. Moses got to deal with over 600,000 or better people that got it. Everybody got a problem. He got to try to answer everything. So the Lord going to help him out. Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Moses, gather unto me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom thou knowest to be the elders of the people, and officers over them, and bring them unto the tabernacle of the congregation, that they may stand there with thee.
The Lord said, gather 700 men, and I'm going to give them some responsibility. I'm going to teach them. Just gather them so they can help you out. Go ahead.
And I will come down and take with thee there, and I will take up the spirit which is upon thee, and will put it upon them. And they shall bear the burden of the people with thee, that thou bear it not thyself alone.
So he took 7 of the elders to bear, to help him out with the problem of Israel. Go ahead.
And say thou unto the people, sanctify yourselves against tomorrow, and ye shall eat flesh. For ye have wept in the ears of the Lord, saying, who shall give us flesh to eat? For it was well with us in Egypt. Therefore the Lord will give you flesh, and ye shall eat.
He said, okay, I'm going to give you flesh, and you're going to eat. But believe me, go ahead. He's going to tell you, go ahead.
Ye shall not eat one day, nor 2 days, nor 5 days, neither 10 days, nor 20 days, but even a whole month until it come out at your nostrils.
He said, look, I'm going to give you so much meat to eat, it's going to come out your nostrils because you complaining to me. Go ahead, bro.
And it be loathsome unto you.
He said it's going to be where loathsome means that you're going to hate it.
Right.
Since you didn't want my man, I'm going to give you this meat. Go ahead.
I'm going to start. And it be loathsome unto you, because that ye have despised the Lord which is among you, and have wept before him, saying, why came we forth out of Egypt?
You said that's crazy stuff. You was in Egypt for 400 years slaving. I'm telling you, this is mental enough for y'all to understand. Once we go into that land, the ones that go in there, this that same stuff gonna go on.
Right.
Don't go in the land at the time of the abomination of desolation, you thinking that it's gonna be like this. Just be happy that you got some clothes on your back, something to eat. These are examples. If you want to know how God gonna do it in the future, go look at his past. Because he said, I'm the same yet today, yesterday, forevermore. It don't change. So understand, we're gonna go through some of this too. And you're gonna have a whole lot of complainers out there because they used to eating a certain way, walking a certain way, instead of just focusing patiently on what God got planned for them in the future, which is being like him. Jump down to verse 31. Good right now. Jump down to verse 31. Numbers chapter 11, verse 31. I might even write it down on your paper. But God heard this now. And when he said, I'm going to give you so much, he's going to put it out your nostril. And believe me, he's going to go a little further. Verse 31, when you get it. Okay. Go ahead.
And there went forth a wind from the Lord, and brought quails from the sea, and let them fall by the camp, as it were a day's journey on this side, and as it were a day's journey on the other side, round about the camp, and as it were 2 cubits high upon the face of the earth.
All that saying, they took a wind and blew all them quails over there to him. They had so many. He said he's going to give it to them out the nostril. Go ahead, he's going to do a little even more. Go ahead.
And the people stood up all that day and all that night, and all the next day, and they gathered the quails. He that gathered least gathered 10 homers, and they spread them all abroad for themselves round about the camp.
They got what they wanted. Watch, they're still complaining. Go ahead.
And while the flesh was yet between their teeth, ere it was chewed, the wrath of the Lord was kindled against the people, and the Lord smote the people with a very great plague. He
killed them while they were eating that quail. When they mean smoke, they're talking about he killed. He said, while the flesh was yet between their teeth, ere it was chewed, the wrath of God was kindled against them. and he smoked them while they were eating that food, eating that meat. Why? Because you complain. You're not being patient. He have a certain time that he gonna give you these things. You just don't take a crackhead and put him inside of a drugstore and say, you sell these drugs. That's what Israel was. Israel was a crackhead, depending on Pharaoh to feed him. He was trying to bring them along a little at a time. But no, they wanted it all. They know how we get. We see a lot of food, eyes bigger than our stomach. We get to eat. I ain't worried about the Lord. And the Lord wants you dependent on him and everything that he do. And that's what prosperity does to a lot of people. They stop depending on the Lord, they start depending on the dollar. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing the Lord was trying to teach them, but they want it. It's okay, I'm gonna give it to you. He gave it to them good. Let's go to Philippians, back to Philippians again, chapter 1 and verse 6. We here to learn, this is a learning center, y'all. We ain't here to hear personal testimonies. You know, a lot of people in the old church lifestyle. I like to thank God for my big toe not hurting this morning. I mean, I used to hear all this stuff when I was a little boy, man. I was like, man, what are you talking about? And when the preacher get up there and start preaching, y'all was saying it all now. We done for the day. You ain't told nobody nothing. Y'all did it all. Man, come on, man. You ain't fed up nothing. All you fed up was a bunch of hogwash. Philippians chapter 1 verse 6. One verse here. Go ahead and read it.
Being confident of this very thing, that he which has begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ.
See, that's the problem with a lot of people. They get knowledge. They understand a lot of knowledge, but it ain't coming fast enough for them. And a lot of people see it that way, like, man, I know what to do, why God ain't giving me what I need. But he trying to teach you how to handle this knowledge. Because I was saying to myself, like, man, I know this stuff, man, what's going on? It was like they gave me a loaded gun, I was shooting everybody down. Bang, 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 I was shooting them down. You ain't ready to handle this. And I ain't handling it right. He said, once he begin that good work in you, he'll train you. He'll train you. And I got a little tact. I learned how to deal with people a little better instead of just blowing their head off every time we talk about this book. So he said he that beginning the good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus. So he began a good work in us, which is the word of God, and teaching other people so we'll learn how to live so we can live better. It's going to come to pass one way or the other. Just be patient with it. Let me show you an example of that. Let's go to Daniel chapter 10 and verse 1. Show you a good example of that, how the prophet Daniel heard some stuff from the Lord. He was like, man, I ain't understand what's going on. He said, ain't no man in front of earth wiser than Daniel. But Daniel had to exert some patience. Daniel chapter 10 and verse 1. And believe me, just as well as God hear your prayer, Satan hear him too now. Exactly. He hear him too. And he's going to try to throw some confusion in there. Satan be fighting the angels. You don't see right here. Daniel chapter 10. We'll start at verse 1. Go ahead, brother.
In the third year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a thing was revealed unto Daniel, whose name was called Belteshazzar. And the king was true, but the time appointed was long, and he understood the thing, and had understanding of the vision.
Well, basically this is talking about the 7 weeks of prophecy of Daniel. He gave Daniel the beginning and the end of everything. But Daniel couldn't process it with his brain, and he needed some help. And what I'm trying to show you right here is sometimes you can be so wise and so smart, you still got to have some patience in this thing. Go ahead. You're going to elaborate on this. Go ahead.
In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks.
So he was mourning 3 full weeks on this problem because he didn't understand this vision God gave him. Go ahead.
I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth. Neither did I anoint myself at all, till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled.
Oh, they only get off track. This is what they call the Daniel fast. This is some stuff the churches do. Ain't nobody, God ain't never told you to fast like that. Only thing, this is what Daniel did. This is what he did. Go ahead.
And in the 4th and 20th day of the first month, as I was by the side of the great river, which is Hiddekel, then I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Upas.
All they said, that angel showed up. He showed up to show Daniel what God was trying to tell him about the beginning and the end of time. What he should write in this book. The book of Daniel is very important to understand the prophecies of God when you go to Revelation.
That's right.
Very important. You can't be a New Testament church and not understand that you need Daniel to interpret the prophecies of Revelation. You got to have both testaments. But Daniel was struggling with this vision that God gave him, and he was waiting for the angel to come and tell him. But somebody else was hearing this. Jump down to verse 8.
Therefore I was left alone and saw this great vision, and there remained no strength in me. For my covetousness was turned in me into corruption, and I retained no strength.
All of a sudden, he like, it's overwhelmed him. And I can imagine God giving me what this whole world needs to obtain salvation, and how to watch out for this government, how to watch out for that government. And you back in the wheel days of chariots. He told stuff all the way back to the future. So it overwhelmed Daniel. And he was like, man, he had no strength in his body because he felt like it was too much. But God help him. Go ahead.
Yet heard I the voice of his words. And when I heard the voice of his words, then was I in a deep sleep on my face, and my face toward the ground.
Put him to sleep so he can understand this. Go ahead.
And behold, an hand touched me, which set me up on my knees and upon the palms of my hands.
So that angel picked him up and touched him and gave him what he needed. He needed to interpret these visions. He gave it to him. But only thing I'm trying to show you here is he prayed. He waited for 3 full weeks for this prayer. And the reason why he had to wait, because Satan was stopping the answer from coming to him. Go ahead, verse 11.
And he said unto me, O Daniel.
This is what the angel said unto Daniel. Go ahead.
A man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand upright, for unto thee am I now sent. And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling.
That he was trembling, seeing an angel with 4 heads, 6 wings, hand up on it. Go read Ezekiel chapter 1 and see the description of an angel. Have eyes all over his wings. That's a gruesome sight. I'll be scared too. Go ahead.
Then said he unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand.
He told Daniel, he said, fear not, from the first day you prayed, I heard you. God heard you. Well, go ahead.
And to chasten thyself before thy God. Thy words was heard, and I am come for thy words.
Now he heard it the first day, but it took him 21 days for it to get there. I wonder why, but go ahead. He's going to tell you why.
But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. That
prince of the kingdom of Persia, that's Satan. He withstand him 21 days. He was fighting God's Holy Spirit. This is Gabriel. And he had to go and have his archangel, Michael, to stop him. Because he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle Satan. But go ahead. This is what he said here.
But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia.
So he took one angel, which is Michael, to come and help him, because Satan fight him from getting that answer to Daniel, because Daniel books help us to salvation. Go ahead.
Verse 14. Now I am come to make thee understand what shall befall thy people in the latter days. For yet the vision is for many days.
See, that's what he said. He had that understanding. But what I'm trying to get you to see is Daniel was the wisest, probably the wisest man in this book. And it took him